If you're like me, you're ready to learn how to make your very own maple syrup. Wait! You have to be educated on proper tapping techniques before you drill into any tree. Well, when can I learn how to do that? Actually, right now. Oh, well, then let's get started right now. This is a sugar maple, or Acer saccharum, and sugar maples are commonly used for making maple syrup due to the high concentration of sugar inside of their sap. Now, if you want to learn how to identify a sugar maple, then check out part 1 of this series called How to Identify 5 Common Maples, and that video will be linked in the description below. Once you're confident you have yourself a sugar maple, then go ahead and release your inner vampire and start sucking its sap out. Now, today we're going to learn how to tap this here sugar maple. So before you even think about touching a tree, you want to make sure that the conditions are right for tapping. What do the right conditions look like though? So the right conditions are when it's freezing during the night and then the temperatures warm up during the day to about 40s to 50s. So when the temperatures are freezing, all the sap is going to be stored in the root system of the tree. Then when the temperatures warm up, the sap is going to go travel through the tree up to the branches. So you want to catch the sap when it's flowing throughout the tree. And then we can collect just a lot of sap at that time. Next, you need the right equipment. So first you're going to need a spigot or a spile like this. I got these plastic ones. You can also use metal ones, but I've got these plastic ones. Then you're going to need some food safe tubing like this. And you're also going to need a food safe container with a lid so that you can prevent anything from dropping into your sap when you're collecting it, like bird poop or just twigs and other debris. Now, you can get a little creative with your food safe containers. You could use old milk jugs or old soda bottles, but I'm just using these ice cream buckets. Now, you'll also need a drill. I have 5/16 inch spigots, so I have a 5/16 inch drill bit. If you have a 7/8 spigot, then you need a 7/8 drill bit. Now, when you're using the 5/16 spigot and drill bit, then you're going to need to drill into the tree 1.5 inches, but if you're using the 7/8, you're going to need to drill into the tree about 2 inches, but we'll get into that later. Don't drill into the tree yet. All right. And then lastly, you're going to need a hammer, okay? So yeah, because you need to tap into the tree. Now, another thing you need to look at before you consider tapping a tree is how big is your tree? Because in the case of tapping, size does matter. The minimum size a tree can be before you tap it is 10 inches in diameter at breast height. When a tree is that size, you can put 1 tap into it. But once your tree reaches 20 to 24 inches in diameter, then you can put 2 taps into it. But if you put 2 taps into a tree, they need to be at least 6 inches apart from each other. Now, if you're putting a tap into a tree that was tapped the year prior, then you need to make sure that the new tap is at least 2 feet away in all directions from that old tap hole. Now, once your tree gets massive and it's over 24 inches in diameter, you can put the maximum number of taps into it, which is 3. Now we're going to go ahead and measure our sugar maple tree here to see if it's big enough for us to tap. So we're going to take a tape measure. You could use a meter stick too, but I have a tape measure, and we're just going to see what its diameter is. And it looks like we're at about 10.5 inches. So it is just big enough for us to tap. So we can put 1 tap into this tree. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, I have a 5/16 spigot or spile, and I have my 5/16 drill bit on, so I need to drill in about 1.5 inches into this tree. And when you're drilling in, you want to make sure that you're drilling in at about an upward angle so that the sap flows out of the tree, you know, using physics to our advantage. So let's go on ahead and just drill into this tree. Please don't judge me for how long that took me. I am not a carpenter. Anyway, so I like to attach Oh my god. So I like to attach my tubing before I tap it. It's just easier for me to do it that way. So I'm just gonna, oh my god, if I can get it on. Okay. So I've got my spile attached to my tubing. I'm just gonna put it in there. And I'm gonna take my hammer and I'm just gonna lightly tap. Okay. Now we're gonna stick this end of our tubing into our bucket. We'll leave our bucket right here in the snow. We're gonna come back tomorrow and see if we have any sap collected. Alrighty, we're checking back and look, you can see that there is sap inside of our tube. And look at all of this. There is so much sap, it is on the lid. If we're to open this, oh my gosh, I can't even, oh my god. Oh my gosh, it's spilling out. There is so much sap inside of this bucket. It is literally overflowing. Okay, I'm gonna close this up and we're going to take this home. All right, so we're here in my kitchen and I've got that sugar maple sap that we collected. Here's in the bucket. It made it home safe and sound. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this filter and we're going to filter our sugar maple sap. We need to do this to get out all the yucky little debris that might have gathered inside of our sap while collecting it. But before I filter it, I'm actually going to measure it out to see how much we collected. So, oh, well, there goes a little bit of it. Let's see. Okay, here is, we got 4 cups so far. I'm just gonna put this into our little filter. Alright, and let's see how much more we can get. Alright, almost exactly 8 cups. It's a little bit under, so actually it's probably about 7.5 cups. I'm bad at math. So we're just gonna dump this, the rest of the sap into our filter. Alright, I'm gonna lift up. Okay, put this over here. And now we've got our clean sap. And now we are ready to start boiling our sap and turn it into syrup. Alright, so now we're going to get to cooking our sap to make it into syrup. So what you're going to need is a saucepan or a pot. Some people recommend not doing this inside. If you have a large quantity of sap to boil, then I wouldn't do it inside because it releases a lot of moisture, and if you have wallpaper in your house, it can make your wallpaper come off. But I really don't have a lot of sap to boil, so I'm just going to do it inside, and I'm going to open up all my windows so that I have a lot of ventilation. So I should be okay, and I don't have any wallpaper in my house, so I'll be good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I have my saucepan. I'm going to turn the heat on high, and I'm just going to dump all of my sugar maple sap into this saucepan. Okay, now it's all in there, and I'm going to wait for it to boil, and what you want to do is wait for all of the liquid to evaporate, or most of it, and then when your liquid starts turning brown, you're going to pull out a thermometer. You're going to need one of these that can reach up to 219 degrees, because that is the temperature you're going to be sticking or looking for when your sap starts turning into syrup. You're going to want to poke it and look to see see if it is at 219 degrees. But we're going to get to that later. For right now, let's just worry about getting our sap evaporated. Right now what's happening is we are finishing up our sugar maple syrup, and as you can see it's getting a little bit darker. I'm actually making this batch pretty dark and we're getting near the end, and what you're going to want to do is get your thermometer, alright, and I kind of scrape as much as I can to the bottom there, alright. So you got all of your syrup down there. And then you stick your thermometer in, and let's see if we can hit the 219 mark. And take a look at my thermometer, and we are at 224. So I'm going to take my syrup off the heat, and I'm going to bottle it up over here. Okay. Ooh. Slowly but surely. Okay, so now here we have our bottle of maple syrup. You see it all in there. This is now our sugar maple syrup. So pretty awesome. We also did, oh! So I also did 3 other tree species. So right here we have black walnut. Woo. So black walnut has a bit of pectin in it, so it can come out a bit like a jam, but this one actually came out pretty nicely. And then here I've got a sycamore. This one actually came out pretty firm. I think I let it go a little bit long, but here we've also got a Boxelder, which is another maple species. So it'll be a nice little comparison between all 4 of these. Okay, so now I'm gonna taste each of these syrups that I made and let you know how they taste. So I'm going to start off with, of course, our sugar maple. Now, I actually started off with, what was it, 7.5 cups of sap, and this is how much syrup I got. So just to let you know that you need a lot of sap to get like a good amount of syrup. But this would still be enough for like a thing of pancakes. But let's see how it tastes. Of course, compared to our normal store-bought syrup. So I'm just gonna get a little bit. See it? It's pretty dark, but still looks really pretty. Okay. Okay. It is pretty good. It's like, oh my gosh. It's okay. So my first instinct is to say a burnt flavor, but it's like not necessarily burnt. Okay, I guess like a smoky sort of flavor. I don't really know how to describe it that well, but it's like, I know some people would like it. My dad would definitely like this one because it's like sweet, but also like a little bit of like a burnt accent in the background. It's really good. I should have made a little bit of this that wasn't as dark, just for comparison, but I think the Boxelder will be really. Now we're gonna try the black walnut, which I think turned out probably the best out of all of them. It's just moving around in there. Looks like, you know, the syrup you'd find in the store. So pretty. Okay. I think I'm the most excited about this one. Okay. Oh, let me get a little close up of it. Look at it. Oh my god. Okay. All right. again, I'm trying to find the words. I think I actually like this one better than maple syrup. It kind of has like a buttery sort of taste to it, but also like sort of like a nutty flavor to it as well. Like, I don't know, it's just really good. Like maple syrup with like a slight buttery and nutty flavor to it. So far I do prefer it to this one, and also to like your normal store-bought maple syrup. Next, I'm gonna try the Boxelder, which again is another pretty syrup. Okay, so here, this time I'm actually gonna do it in front of the camera. Okay, and woo! All right, you can see nice and pretty. That one actually tastes pretty similar to the black walnut, which I like a lot. It's a little less like buttery and a little less nutty, but still pretty good. It actually has a very slight metallic taste to it, which is a bit weird, but overall still pretty good. Okay, so last but not least is our Sycamore syrup. And I actually, or here, let me get a little close up of it in the camera. Now, I actually can't use a spoon for this one, and the hole is too small because it's like all like a taffy almost, but here it is. Yeah, okay. Like, kind of like honey that has hardened a little bit. But I've used my thermometer. Okay, and I'm the only one that uses this thermometer, so yeah. And this thermometer was bought just for this video, so okay. Hmm. You know, it does not have like a mapley sort of flavor to it. It almost tastes like a fruit candy, which is really weird. And since I cooked it for so long, because that's what happened, I feel like I need to add water to it or something to water it down a bit. It tastes like I just put like a hard candy in my mouth that was kind of put inside of a car for a long time in the heat. So it's a bit soft, but no, Sycamore is really good, but just good in a different way from the other ones. Like, again, it tastes like, kind of like a melted fruit candy, so pretty good. But I'd say my favorite one would be the black walnut. Alright, thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed learning how to make maple syrup with me. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in my next video.